Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the FPL Affairs podcast, a podcast that strips back and lays bare our season-long love affair with FPL. In this D-Day transfer special, we take our discussions to the FPL Affairs boardroom to discuss the impact some of these players will have on FPL. Before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for all of our content, and if you click that bell, you should receive notifications each time we release something new. Anyway, enough of my small talk, let's get cracking.
And there's Mo Salah. There goes Haaland. He's on his way again. He's hungry. He's scored. Ice cold precision from Palmer. Oh, Saka! That is a diamond of a goal.
Right, welcome everybody to this monumental special transfer D-Day, even though it's not quite D-Day, with me, Matt, aka the FPL Affairs Magpie, and joining me, it might be carnage in some boardrooms, it might be carnage in this boardroom, but I have with me FPL Affairs Peacock, aka Andrew, FPL Affairs Lewis, or should I say Lion, Big Boss Man Lewis. Should be you in the middle in a way. And Paul, aka FPL Affairs Weasel. So, how are we all?
Yeah, good. Glad D-Day's over.
Yeah, for various.
Yeah, it does feel a bit of a downer this week, that international break, and just as we were getting into the flow of things, it's just like this is the worst one, isn't it, of the year by a mile.
Well, we're just getting started, aren't we? And then it's like bang, stops.
Yeah.
Before we get on to transfers, more specific transfers and how they impact FPL, which is why we're doing this special, is what are your thoughts on when the deadline closes, with it being the start of September? Whereas we've had 3 game weeks and then it's like, right, well, loads of players get transferred. Oh, have we got 4 players from Liverpool in our squads, or 4 players from Chelsea? Because
Yeah, I think in an ideal world, obviously the window would be closed before the first game of the season.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure why that isn't the case. I presume it's to do with all the other leagues and countries and stuff. Like finding that agreed date is probably very difficult, but
summer
I think
ongoing.
it's something. Yeah, there's something they've got to look into, really, isn't it? Because it's not good. It's obviously not good for FPL, not that they care, but in terms of just managers of normal clubs, like it's mad.
Knowing what squad they've got and what players they've got till January.
I think maybe they should do. Say if it closed on the 1st of August, or sorry, when does the season? Yeah, say it just closed on the 1st of August, and then if say like if you got like a bad injury or something, maybe that like the loan market should like be available all the way or for an extra month or something like that. But you should have to get your squad done for the start of the season, and then like I said, if there's any bad injuries or anything, maybe loans or whatever. But it just seems too much chaos the way it is. I don't know what you guys think.
I don't know. I think it adds to the chaos, which adds to the fun most of the time. Not in my case, but at least we didn't see any star players go. But I do think they need to kind of effectively finish it, like you said, Lou, and say, like, for instance, finish it before a few days before the first game of the season, and then have that low market to when they would usually close the transfer market.
Yeah.
So you've got a few more weeks just in case for them freak injuries or whatever. But or like, you've got the loan and free agent market, but there's definitely got to be some kind of structural change to it, because I mean you see it all the time. Like managers, they hate it.
Yeah.
And players, they don't play to their potential either. So
I mean,
especially the big names.
Yeah, we'll obviously come on to it, Zach. But obviously for Eddie Howe, he's been like, we're 3 games in, and he's like, "Well, am I going to be using him? Am I not going to be using him?" Like it just doesn't work really.
Yeah, and I obviously from a personal perspective, if we had a centre forward, a regular goal scorer playing in those first 3 games, the fact we were the better team in all 3 games, Arguably, what I was going to say without looking was Leeds, we weren't as good as we were in the opening two games, but we created chances and we just needed that someone with a clinical touch to either be in the right spot. Like against
Yeah,
Liverpool, Anthony Gordon had a couple of headers which went just over, which you think someone more clinical would have got those. But anyway, we're going off the point. We will sort of stick partly on the spot with the major transfer saga of the summer, and it
mhm,
is rather depressing that certainly when it came down to deadline day, that the two players that effectively went on strike got their moves in terms of Isak to Liverpool and Wissa to Newcastle. Yet Mark Gahey and just like Eze before him, complete
yeah.
gentlemen. Um, Yet Gahey didn't get his, even though pretty much everything.
It doesn't set a good precedent when the guy who's being professional, honouring his contract, get rewarded with a move, and the guys that threw their toys at the pram, went on strike,
Mm.
did get their move. It doesn't set a good precedent going forward, does it? But I mean, what can you do? I don't really know what the
There
answer
are,
is.
and
Think we're
there,
going to see more of it as well.
yeah, we certainly are now
Yeah,
because of
exactly.
how high profile it is. But what are your what are your thoughts generally about the moves themselves? Like from an FPL perspective, Isak going to Liverpool. We'll start off with that as it was obviously broke the record. Um, Lou, do you want to start or
Yeah.
Paul?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've obviously had a side bet with somebody that I think Gyökeres is going to score more goals than Isak. Not that I think that's like a blatant thing. I think it'll be quite close actually. But one thing is that Isak was your penalty taker at Newcastle, was he correct,
Yeah.
Matt? Yeah. So straight away, he's not going to be on penalties at Liverpool. That's maybe 5, 6 goals off of his tally for the season. Minutes, is he going to play as much at Liverpool as he did at Newcastle? Probably not. For me, I know a lot of people have gone out and bought him pretty much immediately. He's definitely not an FPL option for me in the short term. It's a wait and see. If obviously if he starts playing every week and smashing it, then it's something you've got to look at. But for me, FPL wise, I won't be getting anywhere near him, I don't think.
Yeah, same opinion, really, to be honest. And I can't see me because I haven't even gone Salah this season, to be fair.
No,
So I don't think I'm even going to go to Isak, knowing that his minutes are going to be at risk. Why
yeah,
would I?
yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, I won't be picking him either. I can afford him, but yeah, because the minutes risk. I'm a 90-minute man,
How much is he,
and
Paul?
10.4 unless it's had a price rise the last couple of days.
Yeah,
Seen the price changes.
it would have been interesting to see what they priced him at if he would have started at Liverpool, because obviously he's been priced as a Newcastle player, and I think 10.5 was fair because he smashed it last season and he got the price rise that he deserves. But actually, being at Liverpool makes him less valuable, if that makes sense to me. Like he would need to be more like 9.5, 10 for me to consider him.
I
Um,
think I
just
think before the
mm,
game came out, if he was at Liverpool before the game got released,
yeah,
I think he would have been
popular.
probably about. Yeah, I reckon he would have been 11.
Yeah,
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 11, 11.5.
Yeah,
yeah.
Um, as for me personally, now this is where I've got to try and be impartial, and try to take my Newcastle badge off. I think I'm still I'm gonna have him on my watch list just to see. Logically, you'd think with that amount of money spent, is that starting's not shouldn't in theory
Shouldn't be,
be
no.
an
Once
issue
he's bedded in.
longer term, but because he hasn't had any pre-season and effectively his first minutes will be for Sweden in this international
yeah.
break, which is a whole other story. Players on strike, I don't think why should they be even allowed to go on international duty, but that's going off the transfer topic. So I'll be monitoring to see how he settles in and how Liverpool play and try not to be a I'm not getting him because of his behavior. That would just be petty. It's taking a step back and not letting personal, I don't know, rivalries affect who I'd pick and who I don't for my FPL squads. But on the flip side, as you said, he's probably go penalty taker second to Salah, I would think. I think
Yeah,
he'd
I
go
thought
in
that.
ahead of um, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Verts if he's on there. I think he'd slot in behind Salah. Um,
Did he have a good penalty record at Newcastle?
yeah,
He didn't miss many. He didn't miss
I
many,
don't
did he?
think he missed any, did he?
Didn't miss any, no, probably not.
one, I think,
Maybe one, yeah.
Yeah,
one, I think. But that was possibly in the period where people were thinking he'd already had his head turned.
yeah.
Um,
The only thing you might see is that Liverpool might. I mean, Salah's obviously the main guy, penalty taker, but you might see that if Isak suddenly wins a penalty in his first match, maybe Salah might just hand it to him and say, get off the mark and things like that. You know, you do see that more these days. Whether
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something Liverpool or Salah would do, who knows? But,
Is that a
you know,
Salah thing to do though?
it's not really,
That's an
no.
Arsenal thing, isn't it?
well, the fact that already this season he's less involved because they're coming from
Yeah,
more angles is I
he's going to
think
want
will
them penalties. Yeah.
basically be one say, look, I'm not the main man for scoring
Mm,
goals, so any
mm.
opportunity I get, I go to
Yeah,
take it. So a penalty is
could
like
be.
a free attempt, even though he missed two in pre-season. But I think Dave and
Or
Mick will sort
maybe
of
that's the
say
only
he's got his
circumstance that he,
season's misses out of the way already.
well, maybe the only circumstance is that if Salah does miss his next one or two, there is then a conversation to be had, isn't there?
Mm.
How often
Yeah,
can we
definitely.
let him get away with
I
missing
think
them? So
we're all pretty much unanimous decided on it's a Isak's a possible avoid slash watch and see how
yeah,
things go. What about his signing impacting on other Liverpool assets? Because personally, I if Isak had not signed, I was signing Ekatike straight off because I got the cash in the bank.
mm,
I would have gone Strand Larsen to Ekatike straight off, but I'm not now. I think it puts minutes risk on him and Gakpo.
Yeah, so I've got Gakpo and Ekitike. So I'm
Ouch.
mm,
kind of I'm like already wondering. I'm like, I know Isak's not gonna start probably his first two games, I would say. Maybe he might start the third, seeing how he goes. But I don't know. I'm already debating who I'm going to bring in, but who for Gakpo or Ekitike, I have no idea yet. I'm look I'm looking at certain players, but Isak's certainly not one of them, and any other Liverpool asset is not one on my watch list because I just don't have a clue who they would drop for him at the minute
yeah,
because Liverpool are absolutely on fire at the minute, and I really haven't got a clue how
yeah.
it's going to go. I just got to see how the first few games go when we come back from the international break.
Are you guys expecting Salah to be locked on the right and Verts to be locked as the 10? Do you think like those two are pretty much cemented and then it's the other two, or do you think there's a chance that someone could play in where Verts is and maybe Gakpo plays in the 10 and then who knows? Like, or do you think Verts and Salah are the ones that are nailed and then it's the other two that will be
I
rotated, do you
think
think?
Verts, right, so from an FBL point of view, he's not been great because he's
No.
assisting the assister pretty much, but
Yeah.
he's their creative player. So he's doing a great job,
Yeah.
but he's
So he'll
from an
stay in the team
FBL.
then, you think?
Mm.
I think he'll stay in the
Yeah.
team.
Initial
Okay.
initial impressions from me is he's going to be one of those players which are crucial to how their club plays on the pitch. And
Mm.
from an eye test perspective, they're just running the show. But then it doesn't equate to FPL
FPL
points. I think
points. Yeah.
they'll be one of those. You'll have like Salah, whose name may be virtually not mentioned throughout the whole game, and then he'll pop up in the last 5, 10 minutes and
Two
score a
goals. Yeah.
goal. And yet, like
Mm.
Verts' name, you'll hear loads and loads of times through the game, and it'll
Yeah,
Yeah.
be, as you said, Andrew, it'll be like assist the assister, um,
yeah.
and that will be
In
it.
in which case, Ekatike and Gakpo owners are the ones that need to be concerned about the Isak signing, which
Mm.
most of us are, aren't we? I've got Gakpo. Andy, like I said, he's got both of them. So are you wild carding anytime soon, Andrew? Or
I've been debating it for game week 4, but
Yeah.
I just don't want. I made this mistake last year and the year before it, and probably the year before that, of putting chips in too soon.
Mm,
And now that we've got 2 chips each of each one, I'm kind of
Mm.
like, I'm not bothered about using the first set because I've always got the second set to kind of fall back on.
mm,
But at the same time, I want to build that head start with these first set of chips. And I've
yeah.
started this season the best I've started for about 3 or 4 seasons.
Cool.
But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. To be fair,
So
with
at the moment,
wildcard,
you're just hanging on. You're just hanging on to it just to see.
I just want to see how the next, with all the new signings coming into different clubs. I just want to see how each team sets up,
Yeah.
and yeah, go from there. Probably, I'm probably going, if I hold out. If I don't do it on game week 4, it'll probably be around about the game week 10 mark.
Okay.
That was and Lewis, that was what we said the other day, is just to be patient with these, with the transfer window at the time had either just closed or was about to close, because we recorded Monday evening and a lot of ones were still filtering through that they'd submitted this
Yeah.
transfer sheet, but the transfer itself hadn't necessarily been confirmed. And it's
Yeah,
just to
Yeah.
um, see how they play and see how they slot in. Like Isak's behaviour, Wissa confirmed for Newcastle, and there was almost a cock up there. There was one sheet of paper that he hadn't signed, and they'd left it the
Mm.
opposite side of the training ground. So like one of his
that was
team legged it
hilarious.
across, and they'd already submitted the deal sheet, but it was the latter one, but they got it in with seconds to spare apparently. Um, but I think as he got he's Premier League proven, and last season he got 19 goals from open play alone. And I think actually that was the same as Isak. Isak just got maybe 4 or 5 penalties on top, but he should be able to go pretty much straight in centre forward with um
Either
like
side.
with
Yeah.
likely Elanga and Barnes, I would suspect.
Until Gordon's
Um,
back.
and it will be them getting in the crosses and fitting from him, and then they'll wean Eddie Howe will wean um
Baltimore.
Waldemar
Yeah.
in into the
How
team.
how
But
much how much is Visser, Matt?
I think this is 7.5, but he might have dropped. I don't know.
So if
And
he could be if he comes in as your main number 9, he could be a really good bargain. Like if Newcastle have a good run of games, he's starting as your 9. He could be. Who's your new penalty taker? Is it going to be Gordon
I would
still?
say at the moment, um,
Didn't he miss one
when on the
recently?
pitch, I would say it's Anthony Gordon will
Yeah.
be number one at the moment.
But if
Um,
he say for example, he's not back for another couple of games, yeah. So if Visser plays in the next couple of games, Newcastle get a penalty and he decides to take it and scores it. What's to say he doesn't keep him after that, you know?
true.
Mm,
But then on the
mm.
But
flip
yeah,
side, part of me wouldn't be overly surprised if
Bruno.
Captain Bruno or Fabian
Yeah.
Schär took it, because both of them have
See,
taken penalties.
if Shah
Did,
becomes a penalty take, that's interesting.
did Vista take many pens at Brentford, or was it mainly
It was
Embuemo?
Burmo that took them.
I think he was deputy for
He was
Embuemo, but I think
deputy.
Embuemo, yes, but obviously Embuemo barely missed a game, did he? And he didn't miss many
Yeah,
penalties, but
no.
I'm pretty sure Visser would have been the next guy.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if he's got a good record of pens. I don't
Yeah,
really know. But like
yeah.
Newcastle forward lines confuse me at the minute because is Vissa going to be the number 9 or is Baltimore going to be a number 9?
Well,
What?
he's
I know Vissa's got the number 9 shirt,
Yeah,
but
like
yeah,
Walter Marder is, despite being 6.6, he's very technical. And I read somewhere he used to actually be a midfielder.
oh
So
right,
he
because they
does,
called him Volta Messi, don't they, in Germany?
yeah. And
did they really?
he does tend to drop a bit more. So
Right,
there's
more like a number 10.
I've seen, yeah. So
Yeah,
there are
he looks
things
like a
floating
target man.
around that
Yeah, he looks.
he
Yeah,
could initially start off when playing, if it either coming on for Wissa, or if they tried playing them both, we might switch to say a 4-2-3-1 with Voltemada playing the 10 behind
Yeah,
Wissa. If we played with a 4-3-3, it's potential that he'd be, say, playing the number nine, but he'd end up like dropping deep to the
Yeah,
extent. And if he's
yeah,
creative, you'd then have the likes of Barnes and Alanga overlapping, and he
yeah.
would then
He'd
drop
be
deep,
playing like a
play it
Bobby
through a bit like
Firmino
Harry Kane
Firmino
does.
role, or yeah,
But I wouldn't be surprised if Howe and the coaching team worked on his sort of number nine skills and
I'd
perhaps his
yeah,
inspecting his heading
I, I'd
ability.
I'd be surprised if you changed formation because he how loves that 4-3-3. Like he hasn't. I don't think he's changed from that once, has he? Since he's been there, really. Like obviously he could change things up now. He's got
We
different players, but he
well
pretty much swears by that four
against
three three.
against Leeds the first half we were more of a 3-4-3. Um,
yeah,
Okay.
we played against some of the top teams. We played 3-5-2.
Oh yeah, he does sometimes play three centre backs, doesn't he? And then
Yeah,
pushes
and
Livramento and
yeah, and
whoever on.
sometimes he may play a 5-4-1 where um so that when we're out of possession it's a 5-4-1. When we're in
Yeah,
possession, that switches to a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-3. So it's just the wide men of the four become the wide front men of the three, um,
yeah.
that way. But we shall we shall see how it gets on. As I said, Walter 6.69 million, and he's come out as 7.0 on FPL.
yeah.
So he'll be someone to watch in Newcastle um, to watch as well. But
Who did Leeds sign in the end, Andy?
When during the transfer window or
Or
just
did they get did
because
they get did they get anyone deadline day?
no, no.
Okay.
We
I,
we put in a last minute ditch bid for Harry Wilson.
yeah,
we,
I
tr-
saw
we
that. Yeah.
tried to loan him, and Fulham said no. But Fulham were on the way of signing Chuck Wesi, or what was his name
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Chelsea, was it?
yeah.
And a couple of other players.
oh,
And they
did they
said,
sign
"Well,
Tyrick George from Chelsea
yes, that was it.
from
Yeah,
centre
yeah,
forward, 22
yeah,
million?
yeah." And they said, "We'll let him go if we sign all three." Um, then we decided that we were just going to put a bid in. We tried to bid 10 million for him, which
Mm,
we knew instantly Fulham would say no to because it's what's 10 million. We paid 10 million quid for James Justin from Leicester, for Christ's sake.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like,
He's just like a
they,
cover fullback. Yeah.
You should have
yeah, so
tried.
they were never, yeah.
You should have tried
Sorry.
bidding for for the Brazilian Kevin that went
Oh,
to Fulham.
oh
Then you'd
well,
have Kevin and Perry.
that's a great FPL name.
That is a great FPL name.
But no, they no, we didn't get anyone, and it was really disappointing to be fair. I was fuming at home. I was
Wilson
raging.
would have been a good addition for you guys because
Well, we haven't got a set piece taker, so he would have
have
been
you not?
ideal for that because he's a great dead ball taker. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because
and he
he
always
kind of
seems to
likes
pop
his.
up.
You've got is it at the moment you play with Nonto one side and
We've
who
got
plays the
James
other
at the
side?
minute.
Yeah, so you basically have two short, nippy little wingers,
Yeah,
which Harry Wilson is another one of those. But I'd say he's a
yeah,
much better. But I'd say he's a better version than Nonto personally at the moment. Nonto might become better than him, but if you're looking at Premier League
yeah.
proven right now, Wilson would start ahead of Nonto for me.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely. But
Um,
I think, yeah, I'm just very disappointed with our transfer. Yes, we spent 100 million, but it's nothing really in this
it's not going
transfer.
to be enough, is it, by the looks of it? But you
No,
haven't had the
but
worst. You haven't had the worst start, mate. To have 4 points from
four
those three
points from
games,
three
you'd take
games,
it.
two
Yeah.
Champions League teams as well. So
Yeah.
it's not bad. I would have taken it before when
Yeah.
we first got promoted. If they said, yeah, 4 points from
Yeah.
three games, then I would have been like, yeah, happy days. But yeah,
Especially with those
it,
fixtures. What games have you got coming up then? What's like Leeds' next three, roughly?
who have we got? We've got Fulham next, funnily enough, where we
Okay,
tried to sign
interesting.
Muniz and Wilson.
Yeah,
So
Wilson.
that would be
Yeah,
interesting to come from. And then who have we got? Then we've got, who have we got? I can't even remember our next two after
that's all
that.
right. It's going to be three easier games than you've just had, probably, isn't it? You'd think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bournemouth's in that next three as well.
Okay.
So
Um,
it's gonna be a
moving on
test.
to moving up.
Yeah, go on.
moving on to your lot, Lewis, other than Zinchenko, who went out to Nottingham Forest
Yeah.
on Monday, were there any other notable transfers in or out for you guys?
No, somebody bid. I can't remember who it was, but somebody bid 20 million for Trossard on the at the final hour, and that was knocked back. So that's interesting because I thought Trossard might be one that we'd look to sell with all of the additions we have in. But Trossard stayed. Reece Nelson moved on the final day. He went to
Oh,
Brentford, I
oh yeah,
think.
I noticed that. Was it a loan, season-long loan?
Yeah, it's weird. So all of these loans that are happening now, they're all coming with either obligations or options. Because it used to just be, right, we'll pay you a fee or we'll cover his wages, and it would be like a season long loan. But they
Mm.
all
Yeah.
seem to be now including these options or obligations. And I think a lot of it has to do with the FFP stuff. So like some clubs, if their books have been better for this year, they don't want to sell him this season because actually they need, for PSR reasons, they need that 20 million to go on next year's books and things like that. So it's kind of
Yeah,
muddled up
it's the way
a
around
lot
it
of it.
because of the when the PSR
Yeah,
year end of year goes
starts and ends. Yeah.
um
So it's weird. So I
goes
think
through.
with Reece Nelson, I think he is a loan with an obligation, but the obligations often have clauses attached. So it might be something like if Brentford stay up, they have to buy him for 20 million. Whereas if they got relegated, that then the
That's what it'll
obligation
be.
doesn't
Yeah.
apply. Stuff like that.
Mm. Um, so with the Eze signing, how do you think that affects minutes of other Arsenal assets like the Martinelli and Trossard and so forth? Well,
Yeah,
and also Saka's injury. How do you think
yeah.
that
Well,
sort of
we don't know where Eze's going to fit into it yet. You'd have to think he's been brought as that left-sided player, but we really don't know whether he's been brought in as a 10. Has he been brought in as a left eight? Has he been brought in? Who knows? Like, I wouldn't be buying him for FPL straight away. He's a quality player. I think he'll make us better. But yeah, it's a weird one. I don't really see the exact role for him yet, but I suppose we'll just have to wait and see.
He'll go left wing, won't he? It's the most logical one.
He will, yeah, definitely. But Martinelli, who's been our left winger for the last 2 seasons, is a hug the touchline traditional left winger. Eze will not do that. Eze will come inside, and he'll congest things in there. But if that's what we're looking to
inverted?
do, then
So
fair enough. But him
it
and
may be
Martinelli
a
are so
um
different.
it may well be therefore dependent on who you're playing. So if you
Yeah,
want to stretch the play in the width, then he'll play Martinelli. And
yeah,
if Arteta wants the
yeah.
narrow game,
I think if we're up against a low block, I think Eze's your man all day long because
mm,
we struggle to break low blocks down. Whereas if you're playing someone that will come and attack you, Martinelli is brilliant on the counter attack because you can hit the corners and
mm,
he will stretch defenses. We did it at Real Madrid away last year. He perfect. But if we're playing, I don't know, Everton at home or whoever it might be that's camped in, if there's no space in behind, Martinelli becomes essentially useless because he can't get into. There's no space for him to get into, and then he becomes, he sort of turns left, right, and doesn't really get anywhere. So yeah, I think you might be right, Matt. I think it might be dependent on who we're up against. But again, FPL wise, that doesn't make him a pick, does it? Because you do not want to risk having an 8 million, whatever he costs midfielder that may or may not start.
He's 7.5 million.
Okay.
what who's 7.5?
Eze.
I thought he started at 7 for some reason. So no, he can't have done. He must have started at
Last
7
season, I think he was.
because he wouldn't have gone up as much as he has. Um, but I'm thinking generally this transfer window as a whole, the amount of money the top clubs have spent on attacking players, it's just it's just starting to add to more of those big six high revenue clubs being so much stronger on the pitch that they're sort of getting their own equivalent of Pep Roulette, where there's where you kind of there may be one or two men that you're like, right, okay, they're nailed for 90. And then other
Mm.
than that, it's sort of playing right who's on form at the moment, who's played the last few games.
Yeah, and it's
And
more, and they get more subs these days, don't they? Instead of three, it's now five. So, you know,
I think I think
FPL
with a lot
wise,
of them, mainly it's and especially with the defensive contributions, my
mm,
favorite two words in recent ones is where the centre backs, the first choice centre backs are getting the best part of 90 minutes, injury permitting. The fullbacks these days, the top clubs have got two quality ones of each, and the best two will maybe play an hour or
mm,
well 58, 59 minutes from an FPL perspective. And then the other pair will come on, and then perhaps on cup competitions it'll be the other pair subject to injuries
yeah,
just because they require the fitness more than the centre backs do. And then there's maybe the main attacking person and the goalkeeper. So you've
mm,
potentially got four players in the top teams that are nailed and at the most, and then the rest are sort of on rotation,
mm.
whether that's coming off the bench frequently and Salah
Yeah, I've been
Go on, Paul.
Salah and Haaland obviously without needing to mention them. Are
yeah, I've been saying all summer. I think rotation's going to be a massive part of FPL and a big problem this year.
Yeah, you're spot
I know
on, mate.
others have disagreed.
No, I think you're spot on, mate. I think over the last couple of years you've seen it slightly more and more, but I think as Matt was just saying, all the big six have now. You see it with Arsenal; they're looking to get two players for every position. It's no longer starting 11. They want literally two players for every position. So
One starting
there will
level
22,
be,
don't
where
they?
both of them
yeah,
are
yeah,
real class, whereas a lot of
hmm
the next tier down and below, you've maybe
yeah,
got your first choice. You've got two players for each position, but you've got your first choice, one that's in the 11, and
yeah.
one kind of
Understudy
matching
or
up
like
if they
or
come
like
off
a
the
kid
bench.
or yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, it's
I'd say we're starting to get there with some positions having um, two
well,
solid
you're
ones, which
stocked in the wing department, aren't you? In the wingers, you're fine, but when you start looking at your centre mids, like if you lose Joe Linton, you then quite often bring on Lewis Miley, don't you, and stuff like that. So Miley's a great, he'll be a great player. He's still young, but you're not going like for like, are you? If you suddenly lose Bruno Guimaraes and you're having to bring in Lewis Miley, there's a drop off there, isn't there? Just in terms of experience and stuff. So
mm,
that's what a lot of clubs are trying to just make sure they've got two for every position. I mean, Andy, you like for Leeds, who's one of your key players, would you say? Like,
this season we've got Anton Stach now, so
yeah, and
and
he's
we've
he's
got
he's he's quality, but if he suddenly got
yeah.
clocked for 3 months, like, what are you going to
Well,
do
if you
then?
look at it, we've at the minute we've got Ethan Ampadu who's out injured
Yeah.
now. We've got Ao Tanaka out injured now. Both of them
Are
are
they both
out for
injured already?
probably about yeah, they got injured both on I think the second game, and
Jesus.
so they're out for like 8 to 12 weeks between them. I think something
Bloody
like
hell.
that. Um, so
It's not
yeah,
looking
we've
good,
got
Brev.
Anton Stach, and then we've got who else we got in the middle? Who
Yeah.
else are we playing there now?
But that's my point. Like
We've got a couple. Yeah,
your first 11 on paper is decent, it's competitive.
that's
But if
it.
you
Yeah.
suddenly take Stack out, I watched him in the first game, he was really good, but you're just not going to have someone of his quality coming in to replace him, are you?
Oh no, definitely not. No,
No.
no. I mean,
You've got
we
Longstaff now,
you
haven't
did.
you?
Yeah, that's who's come in. I thought he was
Yeah.
going to be a starter from the off, but he I think Newcastle he upped his game because we've
Yeah.
only seen him in a couple of cameo roles, but when he started against Newcastle, I was like, wow, he's actually some player, and I thought he would up his game for Newcastle because of the caliber of that game for him.
mm.
But yeah, I think he's going to cement in space next to
Did, did
Statch
he play? Did he
pretty
play the
soon.
90 minutes against Newcastle?
I think
Longstaff.
he
Did he
did.
start
Mm.
what
He
I think
as
he
started.
like
did.
as a CDM?
No,
Yeah, he
he
had
played up like
substitutes.
hey.
Bit more of
Yeah,
a
he
Sorry,
did
Paul.
play the
number 8.
full 90.
Yeah,
He did
yeah, I
play full
thought he
90.
did.
What as like a did he play in the holding role or was he a bit further?
He was a bit
No, he's on
further
the
ahead.
right of
Number 8.
the three.
Yeah,
He's
Okay.
got, and I think what would be great about his Leeds move is his role when he played in the midfield was kind of the on the ball work. He was overshadowed by Tonali and Bruno. So his kind of role was get the ball, do the hard
Um,
graft, the
yeah,
ugly side of the game, and then play the ball to them and they'd move it on. Whereas I think at Leeds he'll be able to show his
yeah,
skill on the ball
It's creative skill. Yeah.
um,
mm,
more,
yeah.
which was evident in that game. Just looking at
Is
the
it? Is it?
time, we've covered
Go on.
Arsenal, Leeds, Newcastle, Liverpool to a degree. In part two, there are a few other clubs that would be good to speak about, one or two in particular. So join us again in a mo. So, how can you get in touch? Where can you find us? Our email address is lowercase fplaffairs@gmail.com. On X, our user handle is at FPL Facebook, the group link is in our description on the YouTube video channel. And alternatively, you could search the Facebook group for FPL Affairs. We should pop straight up. Our YouTube channel is /at FPL Affairs, and the Spotify links are generally found at the bottom of the video. Or on Spotify, you could search up FPL Affairs. There may still be time to join our leagues if you haven't already. The Classic League code is 12RRCG, or the Classic code is lowercase I6NQNB. Unfortunately, the head-to-head league is now closed as the season has started. Unfortunately, for this part or this second part, we've lost Andrew, unfortunately, but he got his Leeds parts in at least anyway. Lewis, you wanted to mention Spurs, and I'm presuming Xavi Simons.
Yeah. So I'm was going to ask you to actually. Where do you see Simmons playing, and also who do you think's likely to miss out as a result of his introduction? Because I'm a Brendan Johnson owner, and I was going to keep him for a little while, but I'm actually starting to have second thoughts because one, they signed Simmons, but they also got, is it Mawani in on the last day,
Mm,
who can play anywhere across that front three, supposedly. So I don't know whether he's coming in as competition to Richarlison or whether Mawani could potentially start on the left wing. Simmons, by all accounts, is a very creative number 10. From what I understand, I haven't seen loads of
mm.
him, but apparently he sort of drives with the ball, opens the pitch up, and can shoot and set people up. But it's not miles different from Eze, really. I mean, it makes sense because they went for Eze first, didn't they?
Yeah, Spurs a lot so far, I think, have been playing a bit more of a sort of 4-2-3-1 to the degree, and
Okay,
which central midfielders they've selected have partly depended on the nature of
opponent, yeah,
the opponents they've got as to whether they're sort of playing the kids or whether they're playing
experience, yeah,
Paulinho and Bentancur.
yeah.
So if they're playing, say, a 4-2-3-1, you'd be looking at that three being perhaps Simons central with flanked either side by two from Muani, Kudus,
Mm.
Johnson, and
Hell, Odebert, they've got too many
Zin-
options in that. Who,
I almost said Zinchenko, but it's not Zinchenko.
who are you thinking of?
Kulusevski, is he still at Spurs?
He's
Is he
injured.
injured?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
he's still
injured.
there. He's out until at least sort of November, so he's one that you don't have to worry about. But on the left wing, they've got Odebert, Tell, and Johnson. Obviously, right wing, Kudus would probably be the one to go for, and I think most people that have got a Spurs mid have probably got Kudus because he seems to be the most locked out of all of them. Um, I don't particularly see
Simmons,
him as a massive. Go on.
yeah, Simmons, I think will go number 10, and Saar might lose that, I think,
Yeah, but see, I can't see.
or drop
I've got
back.
mates that's yeah, I've got mates that are Spurs fans, and they just don't see Saar being dropped. So yeah, Saar might well be pulled back into a deeper role, which doesn't make his FPL appeal as good.
Mm.
Um,
Also,
May increase
Simmons
depth
takes a
then
lot of
though.
set pieces, so Porro might not be as good a FPL pick this now.
is he good at free kicks and corners and stuff? Is he? Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was brilliant in the Champions League.
Okay.
Hmm.
No, I normally have him in my UCL teams.
Okay. Yeah. So
Making me
uh,
think Spurs is a don't necessarily get rid of the assets, but don't necessarily bring any of the newer
yeah,
transfers in
yeah.
None
until
of them
It
are
might be.
nailed, I don't think, are they? There's
until
been
they
a lot
No.
of
actually
rotation
play.
between them all.
Yeah. And that probably even includes Richarlison at this point because he, with Solanke injured, he was looking like a lock, but all of a sudden he might not be. And I think we've already seen from Frank that he is, as Matt says a lot now, he sets up for the opponent. So whereas before, at Brentford, he kind of had his best 11 and he would just play that every week, regardless of who they were playing. He's actually now got the option to go, right, I think for this game, Mawani would be better because he'll stretch the back four, or actually we need Richarlison. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
Spurs are now another rotation risk, aren't they?
Well, again, they're one of the top six earner
Yeah,
commercial revenue earners.
yeah, and in the Champions
Um,
League and stuff.
yeah. But yeah, as we were saying earlier about more of the those high commercial revenue clubs strengthening the depth and becoming more Pep Roulette style, then Tottenham are probably with these
Yeah.
signings over the last week that they're sort of becoming more of that.
So what would our general advice be? Don't, as you said, don't buy, don't sell. Maybe wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's a wait and see. I'd just say it would be, yeah, if you can roll transfers where possible to
Yeah,
do so, so that once we've kind of established
yeah.
who's getting more of the minutes, then you've got a clearer sort
What
of
what about
sample
what
size
about
data wise on who
what about
to.
if you were on a wild card this week? Then just avoid Spurs complete because a lot of people are actually on wild card this week.
Mm,
Um, would you just avoid Spurs completely? Do you think, or maybe stick with maybe a Vicario or a defender? Maybe.
I would probably stick with whichever defensive assets you've got, or if you are wild carding, then perhaps consider Van de Ven if you've got Porro. Um,
Yeah,
if I was wild carding, I'd possibly consider downgrading Porro to either Romero or Van de Ven. I think if I had the
yeah,
money, I'd probably want to go um, Romero out of the two.
yeah.
Um,
Paul, have
but
you got any Spurs players? I know you like your 90-minute men.
Yeah, I've got
Who have you?
Porro, but as I said, it's a worry now because he might lose set pieces. So could
Yeah,
downgrade him to Van de Ven or
he came
Spence,
he came off
seven
early in
million.
the last game as well, didn't he? Did you see that?
Who did so?
Porro came off early in the last game. Did you see that?
Yeah, he did, but he's still got the points and he got
Yeah,
the
he scraped.
Defcons.
Yeah, he scraped his defcons, but that was a little bit of a concern that he did get pulled. Especially when you need a goal. I was surprised that he got pulled, but probably no concerns going forwards, like in terms of his minutes. But that was a
As
little bit
Matt said,
strange.
it's because he's a fullback. No, they
Yeah,
are gonna. It's going to happen a lot this season.
yeah. Well, the doggy's back now, isn't he? Which means there's a bit more competition in them fullback areas. Um,
yeah,
Uh,
but then
yeah, Spurs have got great fixtures,
he's
so
Spence. He'd be rivaling Spence, wouldn't he?
yeah, and Spencer's been. I think as it stands, Spencer's been so good at left back, he probably just wouldn't lose his spot there to your doggy until he either drops in form or gets injured. So that's where we are at the minute with that.
Sticking
But yeah,
with
yeah, go
sticking
on.
with
We can move on from
fullbacks,
Spurs.
sticking with fullbacks. What about the Forest and fullbacks and Nico Williams and Milik?
Yeah,
Because I think they signed Zinchenko, whether that was on
yeah,
season-long loan or an actual signing,
and a
and I've got a
Brazilian.
feeling they got someone else as well.
Yeah, I was watching the deadline day as a Nico Williams owner. First of all, seeing that they'd bought a left back from Brazil, I think it was from Botafogo, and then bringing in Zinchenko on top of that at the last minute, definitely a bit of a concern as a Williams owner. Someone in the group, I think he's a Forest fan, did say like, I wouldn't worry about Williams at this point. Like he's still definitely number one nailed and stuff, but um, I'm not in a position to sell him anyway. Really, I've got other things to sort out when I do transfer, so I'm going to keep Williams, but hopefully he keeps his place in the team anyway.
Yeah, I thought of when I think it was before the season started when there were murmurs of Forest looking at fullbacks. That was
Mm.
kind of when I was sorting my out. I'd identified I definitely wanted a Forest defender,
So
and
that pushed
Williams
you
had
to a centre
been,
back, didn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it made me sort of switch. You know what? I'll go with Murillo
yeah.
um, over him
Not that there's
because
been much difference between
one
any of them so
Murillo,
far.
one Murillo was supposed to be more nailed for DEFCON, and
Yeah,
secondly, they weren't rumored to be
risk.
getting centre
Mm.
backs.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
um,
That was a wise pick. Not that it's paid off so far, but
true.
as far as
Which
defence has been pony.
yeah, it's just that. Well, the last result was shocking, which we mentioned in our
Review.
talking points, game week three talking points bit
Mm.
especially.
Yeah,
And it does make me think and question about whether to keep hold of Forest assets, but then after defenders, that is, but then after Arsenal, they've got Sunderland and Burnley. So if I don't
yeah.
wildcard, which I think is unlikely, there'll
Got to keep
probably
them.
be a hold until after those fixtures
Yeah,
and then look at
yeah,
moving them on. It'll either be that or it'll possibly, I jokingly said, you know what, with how Defcons have gone to
yeah,
um to switch to Van Dijk.
yeah. Um, One thing we definitely wanted to talk about was the two goalkeepers situation. So Manchester United were heavily linked with Martinez. Looked like that was going to happen. Didn't happen. They brought in some guy from Belgium instead. I know nothing about him. He's obviously highly rated. I think United fans would have been more happy getting Martinez because he's Prem proven, he's
Mm.
experienced. I think the fact they've gone for a young option is a little
Yeah,
bit concerning because whoever comes in that position is going to be under so much pressure, and to be if you're a World Cup winner and played in the Premier League for 10 years, you're going to be better equipped for that position, aren't you? So, um, no idea what he's going to be like. I hope, as an Arsenal fan, that he's as useless as the other two keepers they've got. Um, but we'll see.
He can't be
yeah,
that great because I'd never heard of him before.
Had you not know?
Nah.
he's
No,
quite, he's quite young, and I think what briefly I heard at the start of the week, once they confirmed is it would be a little bit harsh to throw. I don't know whether he's like 19 or 20 or something like that, but either way, a really, really
Man
young
City away.
goalkeeper, and
Yeah.
to be thrown in as a starting regular
Mm,
for a club the size of Manchester United, even though they're not in European competition this season,
yeah.
there'd be a lot of pressure on his shoulders.
Surely they've signed him as a number one though, because they need a number one, and Martinez would have obviously been a number one. So the fact they've opted for this kid instead tells me that they are going to throw him in. It would probably be sensible to wait until that Man City game was out of the way, and then give him a nice, I don't know, Everton at home or something. But I presume he's going to be their number one keeper this season at some point.
Apparently, he's made the most saves in the Europe's top 10 leagues. Just reading about him now.
Really, yeah. And I know he's
Yeah,
young.
and
I
he
don't think
made
he.
the most progressive passes as well for any goalkeeper.
Oh, that's interesting. I know I don't think he's quite as young as nine. I think he's like early 20s, isn't he? 2021. Does it say there?
Yeah.
But then you could
Um,
also read it, depends on the narrative. You could look into that as in, well, he had a shocking defence in front of him, so he was required to make the saves.
yeah.
And also, if he's
That's not going
got
to change them.
the progressive passes, is that can also be a tactical aspect of um,
Do we know
what
what he's
that club
priced in
are like.
FPL?
Pardon?
Do we know what he's priced in FPL?
No
Any
idea.
bonus? No, I'll
I
have a
think
quick
5
check.
million probably.
I'll have a quick check. But if any Man United keeper's priced at over 4.5 million, then that's a farce.
Well, that won't be
The
above.
other two are 5 million on there.
Yeah. Well, how many clean sheets have they got so far?
Mhm.
Zero. Yeah.
Mm. And the other goalkeeper situation, which I
Yeah.
actually feel quite sorry for James Trafford, really. How did really well for Burnley last season, linked last summer and also the start of this summer with a move to Newcastle, and then it was only
Yeah,
really part of it was a negotiating of the price because Burnley were trying to get the price up because Manchester City had a sell-on sort of percentage clause
yeah,
in the deal. So Burnley were trying to get, well, if we want 30 million for him, they had to charge what set the price at sort of closer to 40 so that they would get 30 themselves with above that going to City.
yeah.
And I think City also had like first refusal clause in the contract. So
Hmm.
once Newcastle made the offer, that therefore gets proposed to City, and it's like, right, they're willing, and then City are obviously get him at a cheaper price because they'd be getting a cut out of it anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
so that's how he ended up there, isn't it? Yeah.
and then he's played 3 games, number one shirt, and then they go off and sign the PSG
So
first choice goalkeeper.
what I actually heard was that they brought Trafford in because they didn't realize they thought Edison was going to stay. So they brought Trafford in to be an understudy to Edison and maybe play the odd game here or there.
Mm.
Trafford comes in, Edison and then makes it clear that he wants to leave. So at that point they just start playing Trafford. But obviously with Edison going, they need to replace him. So then Donnarumma becomes available. So it's all kind of I think the plan was initially to bring Trafford in as a number two, but also a playing number two, someone similar to Ortega. You know, he played sort of five, six, seven
Yeah,
games a season, didn't he?
like an
Um,
Ortega replacement.
exactly, yeah. And Edison forcing that move has kind of mess up their plans, and then he had to start 3 games that he probably wouldn't have started. But what do you guys think about Donnarumma? Do you think he'll be like a solid keeper for City?
Well, I'm not surprised he went in at 5.5. It was just thinking, well, the most expensive keepers are 5.5. He's playing for Man City and he's,
One of
where
the
he's
best in
come
the
from
world.
and his profile. You just thought
Yeah,
he's new to the Prem, so he's not going to be higher than 5.5. But
yeah,
yeah, so
yeah. That was spot on. Yeah.
nailed on at that price.
Any interest
Um,
from you two to buy?
No,
No, no.
not especially. I think
he
still
will be
with
number one, I think.
He'll be number one. He'll have the odd penalty save in him as well. You'd like to think that if not that Man City concede many penalties, but if they do, there's half the chance he'll save it. The only
mm,
issue is you would not be surprised at any moment if you looked at a Man City team sheet and Trafford started instead of him. So you just can't really go there, can you?
mm.
Unless you get both, it's pricey.
Exactly. And you're taking up 2 City spots. Then I mean, if they had a good run of fixtures and he was looking nailed, then you could potentially look at it. But
Yeah, I wonder if Trafford might start league games and Donnarumma in Europe.
yeah,
You'd
although
certainly think, based on experience, that Donnarumma would be nailed for the Champions League games,
yeah, yeah.
having won it last season.
And
Uh,
the fact they haven't looked great defensively either might mean that he just comes in and plays the league games as well because I know they shouldn't have lost to Brighton, but to have lost 2 games already, they can't be taking any like I heard on the radio. I think Pep is looking like this is his last season. Yeah, so whereas normally he buys players to build over 3 years and he's looking to blood youngsters and stuff like that. I don't think he's going to be doing much of that this season. I think he's going to play the team he thinks that will win him games. So I
mm.
do see Donnarumma actually playing based on that.
So having had the goalkeeper sort of update on what our thoughts are with them either playing and FPL assets,
Yeah.
any other clubs that you feel need identifying from a FPL perspective? I mean, we spoke of Everton's attack the other night.
West
We
West
spoke
West
about
Ham West Ham let a Gerd go, didn't they? The centre back.
mm,
And they brought in Fernandez from Southampton, who started and played that game on Sunday.
mm,
Um, he looks decent, but outside of that, I don't think West Ham. They've got Somerville back from injury, which I think he's been out for like 9 months. So you can look at Somerville as a new signing kind of thing because if he's fit and available, he'll definitely feature for them quite a lot.
Mm.
Um,
He's been brilliant in the past in FPL, hasn't he?
yeah, was he a Leeds player?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, he was like, I don't think many people had heard of him, had they? But when he was playing for Leeds, he was popping up almost every week with goals and assists, wasn't he?
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Well, I have just thought, and
Who?
this is shock horror, we haven't actually mentioned Chelsea and the fact that with their, well, striker shortage, how Nicholas Jackson threw a bit of a refusal to come back from Munich. So
Yeah,
he was gone, and then loads of people went for their budget centre
yeah,
forward being and I keep
yeah.
forgetting what the correct pronunciation of it.
Is it Mark Gui?
Yeah, Mark
I think
Gay.
it's Gooey.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that was the first way people were saying it, and then there was a correction of like, no, it's not. But either way, we know who we mean,
exactly.
and how him going from 4.5 slowly starting to get minutes at Sunderland to being recalled to Chelsea, and then
Mm.
Chelsea also getting Garnacho and um Buonanotte, is it from
Yeah,
Brighton
Yeah.
yeah,
again? So making the standard annual Brighton to Chelsea move.
yeah.
Um, but then they're
Crazy.
they're both they're both wide men, and yet Chelsea are flooded with those.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I think the big take from it is that João Pedro is looking like a real. I was very close to having him in my team. I didn't end up going with him, and he's obviously had a lot of returns already. Do you both have João Pedro in your main teams?
No,
And your
No.
no,
I
do you not?
I made the
Cool.
decision because of the uncertainty of minutes and thinking he's going to be
Yeah,
one that will be coming off
rotated
just
and stuff.
before the
Yeah,
hour for like a one pointer,
yeah,
and it'd be like pulling hair out. So I thought, you know what, I'll go for
yeah.
stay
And we weren't
strikers
wrong,
with
and we weren't
60
wrong because
minutes.
after game one, he was pulled on 60 and on 1 point. So it was
Yeah,
looking the correct decision. Obviously, they go to West Ham. He gets two or three returns in one game because West Ham were awful. And then at the weekend, gets another goal, picks up the bonus. Delap goes off injured. All of a sudden, his stocks are through the roof. I mean, I'm not in a massive rush to bring him in. Um, certainly this week, I'm on free hit this week, but I don't think I'm even going to have him in that. But you'd have to say he's looking like a decent hold up until Christmas at least for Chelsea.
yeah.
Yeah, they've got great fixtures to week 13.
Have they? Yeah,
And he's definitely on my watch list. But as I've said in previous podcasts, there's 6 or 7 strikers I want, unless we can
yeah,
only pick 3.
yeah,
But yeah, I think Gooey will probably get more minutes at Chelsea than he was getting at Sunderland because he'll be number 2
yeah,
striker, won't he?
yeah. That'll be interesting to see whether Pedro goes in. Do you think he'll just go in and play number 9 then instead of because it was quite clear that Maresca wanted to play Pedro as a 10, and he was quite happy to have Delap as the starting 9, but obviously
Especially
Pedro,
with no
like
Palmer.
especially with no Palmer. So now that yeah, that Delap's injured for probably 2 to 3 months, Pedro's looking like a nailed on starter at number 9. Who else can they play there? Obviously Gay, but you can't see him starting too many
And then
games.
where do Garnacho and Buonanotte fit in?
Yeah. What is
I
their
don't think
strongest?
Benetti's going to play at all, to be honest.
No, I don't. I think they've just got him to build the squad. He's a bit of like a Dewsbury Hall replacement, isn't he? He'll just sit on the bench every week and play in the FA Cup and stuff like that. But Estavio is looking very good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's sort of after getting the chance because of Palmer sort of thing. He's really pulled it
Yeah.
out and looking at. I
And
think
he looks like an FPL option because he does get goals and assists. He's lively. He shoots as soon as he gets half a chance. He's skillful. He'll probably win some penalties. Um, I think he's looking like the starting right winger. Left wing is obviously up for grabs. Pedro Neto um, is an
Neto
option.
play 9.
do you
Possi
think
he they
That's when
played
Palmer's back.
he played Neto as a 9, in the Club World Cup. I'm sure he did in one or two of the games. Or was it? No, it wasn't the Club World Cup. Towards the end of last season, I remember when Chelsea came to Arsenal and they played Neto as a nine, and all their fans were moaning because he didn't get a sniff, and they didn't look like scoring at any point in that game really. But he has played as a nine, but I can't see that being an option this season, to be honest.
Well, it depends whether it be us standing while Palmer's off if Maresca continues to play João Pedro deep
Yeah,
as a 10, whether Neto goes in as a sort of a bit of a false nine. But
yeah,
again,
could
that's a
do.
wait and see. And
Yeah.
regardless of them getting in Garnacho and Buonanotte, they're not likely to be jumping straight in
I'll
and being
just quickly then,
taking
because we're probably
minutes.
running out of time. Aston Villa,
Yes, they were one because they got Harvey Elliott's the big one, and then they also got Sancho as well, didn't they? Both of them on
correct.
loan. I'm not sure what the status is, whether they're loans with obligation to buys.
I
Elliot
think,
says,
yeah, Elliott's was either an immediate transfer or obligation. That 35 million was the figure that was touted, which I think is great business for Villa. He's young, he's English. I think he's a great player. I really do. Whenever I've watched
I
him,
do as well.
yeah, he's got an eye for goal, hasn't he?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there
I'm
were
surprised Liverpool let him
suggestions.
go, to be honest.
He's just been unfortunate. He's been behind the Premier League's greatest ever right winger for the last 5, 6 years of his development. He was get good minutes behind Salah, and the age he's at now to still be behind Salah, which he probably deserves to be. Obviously, he had to move on, so I think it's a good move. Do you think he'll go straight into that Villa team and just play?
Yeah, definitely.
The way
Yeah,
they're playing at the moment.
they need something, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's more likely to start than Sancho.
Yeah. If I was buying a Villa mid tomorrow, I would probably go for Elliot over
because
Rodgers.
I always
Is
forget
he
whether
5 or
Rodgers is
5.5
whether
million?
Rodgers is left or right.
Rodgers kind of plays in the 10. Um, he's basically been playing Watkins as a nine and Rodgers as a 10 for a while, but he can Rodgers can also play off the left. Like he mixes and matches that front. Like McGinn will randomly be right wing, and then um, obviously Leon Bailey was there. He's now gone. They brought that guy from France who I believe is a striker but can play. No one really knows what their attack is at the moment, but you have I have to think that if they now played Rodgers as a 10, Elliot on one wing, and then who else have they got? Yeah, maybe even Sancho on the other wing, and then Watkins up front. Like that's looking a bit more potent already, isn't it?
And Kieran's man, Marlon.
Yeah, Marlon. Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about him. So yeah, I would be interested in Elliot because I think he's very cheap as well.
Yeah, he would be from where he was in the pecking order at
I
Liverpool. He would be that sort of 5.5,
Yeah,
maybe
I think you're right.
six bracket.
I think he's no, I think he started at 5.5, but I think he might have even had a drop, so he might be 5.4, which is incredible value, really. Well, they've updated the game yet that he'll be, yeah, he is there. 5.4 million Aston Villa midfielder, yeah.
Worth noting
I,
on.
yeah, I don't hate that transfer at all. If you're looking for a midfielder at 5.5 and below, especially people on wildcard, I do not hate the Elliott pick at all.
Yeah, you'd certainly
Yeah,
think
he's definitely worth a punt.
Mm,
out of all the transfers that happened from Monday, he'd be one of those that's nearer the
top,
top
yeah.
or the FPL assets because of
Yeah,
especially how Villa have struggled and lacked creativity. He's
yeah,
one that you just sort of think that the the team you've been at and how you've been playing that it would make
yeah.
sense of just throw him in at the deep end.
Yeah, he's very direct, and that looks like what they've been missing for the first few games.
And he isn't on international duty, is he? Or is he? Because he won player of the tournament at the under 21s. Did he
Mm,
get a full did
He's
he get a
overage now, isn't he?
promotion?
He's not in the full squad.
He is.
he's not in the full squad.
I don't think he was.
No, I don't. I think you're right, Paul. I don't think he is.
He should
In
have
which
been instead of
case
Henderson, but that's another talking point.
in
Yeah,
which in which case, then he'll have this international break training at Villa and familiarising
Yeah,
with the players that
and be fit and firing for
haven't gone.
next Saturday.
Yeah,
All right, good stuff. There's some good information there, I think, which is good.
yeah. I think we've pretty much covered most, certainly the main ones and the impacts on players. If we've missed any, please let us know in the comments, and we'll hope
Hmm.
to talk about it when we go through our transfer
Preview shows
flags
next
or
week, won't there?
We
make
haven't
our.
spoken about Brentford.
Mm,
Obviously, they've
Who
lost
did they
Wizard
get?
now as well.
Yeah, did they
Uh,
get Tara in, did they?
yeah, he's been brilliant.
yeah,
And
he's had a
obviously got
great start.
Nelson.
Yeah, and Atara might also take penalties for them. Well, they got one on Saturday, didn't they? And Sharda took it, and it was an absolute pea roller. So he will be off penalties for sure. But they'll probably go to the striker, I think.
Tiago took one
Yeah.
in the first week though, didn't he? And scored.
Yeah, Thiago took one and scored, and then he was on the pitch when they got one at Sunderland and didn't
I thought
take
he
it.
was
So I'm
on.
not sure. No, I'm pretty sure he was on the pitch because he then scored after that.
Hmm.
Strange.
Yeah, either
Yeah.
way, Thiago's going to be on pens. You'll have to think.
Hmm. We shall see, and we shall see how Reece Nelson
Oh
fits
yeah,
into that.
gets on there as
But
well.
yeah, I think overall, my final thoughts of the transfer window is just try to roll your transfers when you can if you're not putting up fires,
Yeah,
or even if you're wild carding, I'd still be a little bit reluctant or
yeah.
nervy um putting in players that have made transfers, Isak
I
included.
think I think the advice would be one, what you said, roll as many transfers as you can until we can get more information. And secondly, I would say if you don't need to wild card, genuinely try and just manage until we have another 3 or 4 weeks worth of information.
I
Because then at
knee
that point you're
jerked
going to be
I knee
you did
jerked
you
my
did.
wild card last season in game week 4.
Oh,
And one of
okay.
the things I thought and said to myself at the beginning of the season, I want to wait for more data, even if
Yeah,
Haaland or
whatever. Yeah,
Salah or both get. I mean, I've got Salah, but uh, even if there's players that I don't have that hit the ground running, to try to sort of refrain and not do a
yeah,
major overhaul, because I think this season really's shown where a lot of the premiums in a way popular picks at the start, or ones that you'd think would from experience would
hmm
hit the ground well, just haven't.
hmm
Um, so
But you've got to hold your nerve. Got to hold your
mm,
nerve. Everyone, if you've got Watkins, you don't sell. You know, it's just one of them. But people will be wildcarding this week. They'll be taking Watkins out for whoever scored last week, and then Watkins now has a good run of fixtures. He'll hit some form, and then they'll wish they hadn't. So obviously that's not guaranteed, but that's normally how FPL seems to work from my experience.
That's why I'm keeping him.
Keeping him, yeah,
Yeah, and then they'll probably get to go Correz in week 7 if he hasn't done anything the last few weeks.
yeah, that's fair.
But
yeah,
yeah, I normally wild card week 4, but I'm resisting the temptation this year
Good man.
because some good fixtures. And yeah, week 7 wild card's my plan at the moment.
Stick to the plan, as Eric Ten Hag once said.
Hopefully, we get this extra free transfer that you posted about earlier.
yeah. I thought that, but I checked my. If anyone watching, if you haven't seen that on social media, there was a picture of Isak signing his, and it was actually I found it on X. It was
Mm,
posted or shared by FPL Focal, and above it, it had a comment that because of certain transfers and not being allowed more than 3 players. So, like for example, if you had 3 Liverpool and Isak, you'd then have 4 Liverpools to help you address that, as well as the Guiu returning to Chelsea, having
mm,
4 that we were going to be given an extra transfer to address that problem,
Yeah,
or
I saw that as
it,
well. It was he photoshopped it, didn't he, as a joke, and everyone kind of fell for it because FPL have been so generous with their transfers this year, like giving out all them extras for AFCON and stuff.
mm,
He did a really clever tweet that looked legitimate. It basically said, due to clubs ending up with 4 players and stuff, you've all been granted an extra. I bet how many people I bet would have been so happy with like when they first read that, like,
they're
oh
like,
yes, I
yes,
need.
They
and
Yeah,
then
still might do it.
no, they
didn't
won't.
actually check their transfer count. But
Yeah,
yes, I'm afraid we are out of time,
yeah,
gentlemen. So thank you for joining me in the FPL Affairs transfer boardroom, and I'll try to
A
freshen
pleasure
it
as
up
always.
with seeing what I can put on the front of the desk. So I think all that's left to say, thank you, Lewis, and thank you, Weasel, or Lion and Weasel, and keep your FPL affairs under wraps or keep them rolling and those chips nice and safe. And we shall see you soon for our game week 4 previews. Bye bye for now. Don't forget
Yeah,
to like
everyone.
and subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, Matt. Nice.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that constructive meeting. I think the question is, did we get the paperwork in on time? All that's left to say is, don't forget to like and subscribe and keep your FPL affairs paperwork under wraps until the deadline after the international break. Bye bye for now.